Well, you're not
Good
glad
evening.
indeed.
Hello, we're live. We're live here on YouTube. Oh, there you go. I've just had a notification to tell me that that's something I need to turn off. How are we, Peter? How are you? Firstly, you weren't very well last week when I saw you when we went up to Free Counties Radio. You were sort of coughing and spluttering and not very well. Are you improving or?
I'm generally still weedy pigeonish, but that's
Oh,
fine.
good.
Yes, if Justin's computer keeps going off, it's just because we just had a conversation where he said, "Oh, it's a Google alert," but don't worry, it hardly ever happens. You start this thing, bing, straight away. Never
Yeah,
mind.
it's just told me I'm live, which is good of it to tell me. But there you go. I think I knew that already. Anyway, so we're in an international break. Which is which has been fine. Mine was broken up a little bit by not being able to get home on Saturday due to a suspected bomb, literally just down the road. Someone had fished a hand grenade out of the canal, and the whole of my estate was closed off for sort of 4 hours, and I couldn't get home, so that was fun. Yeah, we are due to sort of come back to football again this Saturday, and with that in mind, Sheffield United is our first opponent. So we're going to come to that. Is there any other business you'd like to discuss before we come on to chat?
Well, there is, because I'm sure people may have seen it. They may have not seen it, but who knows? But today has been Emmanuel Dennis 3, or Emmanuel 3, as I've been calling it. Basically, he was linked with, basically coming back to us for a third time today, and a reported medical ahead of a potential signing. But the signing has been postponed, at least until January, which makes absolute sense, right? If you're going to look at this guy, and I appreciate we're going to get onto the fact that this is a very polarizing thing. We're going to discuss this in just a second. However, he is a free agent, but because of the terms of his release, sounds like Terry Waite, not quite, but you know what I mean. Due to the fact that when he was released, he couldn't play until January anyway. What would be the point of signing him and paying him in order to get him back to fitness?
Well,
Now,
I can tell you what that might be, to get him up to match fitness, because last time he came to us, he turned up in January and he couldn't play for about 6 weeks or something, could he? Because he was tired and not match fit.
I see that what we are doing here is we are separated by a common language. The emphasis was, why would we pay him to
Oh, I
be
see.
getting to fitness?
Well, yes, quite so.
So the point is a contract from January until the end of the season makes far more sense if he has applied himself and if he gets himself fit and if he plays, I would imagine, in, kind of a trialist in under 21 games, that sort of thing, so they can maybe see it and monitor it and make sure that it makes no sense deciding that basically we're going to sign him 3 months earlier than he can possibly play and then hope that he might get fit. Well, he hasn't been fit for the best part of 3.5 years. There is no doubt a fantastic potential player in there, but a player who has just polarized everybody. A lot of them amongst Tay, which is like thee but spelt wrong, supporter base. Some love him and will talk back to his first day and say, look, that's his potential. Others look at him and go, he dribbles when he should pass, he passes when he should shoot, and he shoots when he should dribble. That he's a frustrating player, but potentially, and I get that he's an enfant terrible. There you go, bit of French for everybody there. In as much as when he went on loan from Bruges to Cologne, or now called Colne for some strange reason. I'm going to call it Cologne because I'm old. Yes, I know. He basically fell out with the club because he wasn't able to sit where he had done on the bus, and so he's got a temperamental kind of element about him, and other people haven't bought anything out of him, but he has, and I'm going to say he has undoubted talent. He absolutely has a level that we don't necessarily have before. He could bring us something that others can't do. You look at if we are our squad, and we've got a lot of wingers, I get that. He's the one player who you could play through the middle up as a centre forward or on either wing as well. I can understand why we might look at that and go, might be worth a risk. But if what we have done is say, well, not now, but in January, and go and get yourself fit and get, do what Forestieri did. As what was one of the things that was mentioned by Adam Drury. If anybody remembers when Forestieri came back from Malaysia, he was in and around the club wanting to get himself fit. And they would allow him to do so, and then they can take a look at it then, because he's not going to play till then anyway. Incentivize him to do that, and then see what happens. But your dislike of Emmanuel Dennis, and let's face it, there are all players in the entire world in Justin's eyes fall into two categories as far as I can work out. One is I've never heard of them. And the other ones are, they used to play for us. And neither do you like when we tend to sign them. You normally go, "Oh, I've never heard of him." Of course you haven't. He's not played for us before. And or you turn around and go, well, I don't like him. We've signed him before. Why can't we sign somebody new? Somebody new that I can then kick bins and dislike. Am I wrong?
Well, yes and no. I think if you remember the
Was it
second,
this? Was it this?
well, there is that. Yes, there is that. Yes,
I'm showing
yes.
for the audio listeners.
Yeah,
Boy,
yes,
we all about the audio
yes.
listeners tonight,
The
everybody.
audio listeners.
Watch
If you
this
remember
as
when he
a
came back, right, the second time, it was, I mean, the social media team just would not give it up. It was him walking into the stands. This stuff, Dennis is back. This is it. It was first interviews. It was this. It was that. It was putting on a shirt. I mean, yeah, he's back. Great. I get it. Fantastic. He's back. The other thing is as well,
Do you
when
remember last January, though? Do you remember last January? Do you remember the multitude of players that we signed in order that the kind of comms team could actually let us know about? No, neither do I. They
Sylvic,
only had one thing to work with.
Sylvic, I think. And yeah, true. But the other thing is, it was just, there's always this kind of, it's a bit like going back to an ex-partner, I guess, in that you forget all the bad things and you only remember some of the good stuff and maybe not the bad things. And then you just, when you get back in the habit, you go, oh yeah, I forgot about this. I mean, do you not remember every time he was crap, I would turn around and point at you and then point at the pitch? Do you remember that? When he came back the second
Yes.
time, I would
You've
go,
already you've already sent me a note. You've already sent me a note. Basically, whenever in his second stay, if Dennis did anything bad, Justin turned around, looked at me, pointed at me like it was my fault that it had happened.
No, it was you like this
Threw
guy.
his arms up in the air in disgust, and then turned around and sat back down again. Am I wrong? No.
Well, that might have been your implication or interpretation of it. It was more, see, this is why I don't like him. I think a third time. I mean, how many games has he played since he came back? Since we moved him on the second time, it's not many, is it? Right?
Not many. It's not many. No, he absolutely needs to get fit. Otherwise, what's the point? Evening, Ryan. Evening, everybody. By the way, lovely stuff. I like Kevin Robbins' point. Fully fit. It's a no-brainer. I think the key word there and what we're discussing is fully fit. I did like Jessie. Jessie says there.
Yeah, she's wrong. I think. I think. For me, there was always an element as well with Dennis of who's the agent involved. That always is a bit of an alarm bell for me as well. Does someone need a service on the Ferrari or something? I mean, it's just, I don't know why we'd go back for a third time. There must be other options out there. There's got to be other players out there that we could bring in. Why do we keep bringing back the same player every time? I don't. Go on.
That I agree with you. The question about what does this say about the quote unquote Pozzo network of these incredible players. Now we found some, but but they're all now very young. They're all now very experienced. All the forwards. Are we really saying that that's the only one there? But it's not quite the same thing at this moment because we are in we're not in a transfer window. Therefore, you look at it and go, well, who of the free agents could we bring in? Who could we bring in on a far reduced salary from what he had? If we remember, he did come back. He wasn't properly fit. I thought he did put in a decent show against Birmingham, and Tom Cleverley called it out as a great example. If you remember, he was the one who got the ball, who got the goal and lofted it over. Don't forget, that was a 6-pointer against Birmingham, and we finished 6 points clear of them. So let's not underestimate that little part that he played. But thereafter, yes, he wasn't fit, he wasn't right, and I agree with everybody who's saying no, he needs fitness. But what did it say about our ability to draw in players from other areas, other leagues, other clubs, other than, as you say, through a certain agent, Mr. Moji Bayat, with his mitts all over the deals? That's a very, very fair point. But you said it earlier on. Here we are. We're coming to back out of the international break. Happy day. The FIFA announced today, by the way, that we're not going to have 3 international breaks before Christmas. Next year, we're going to only have 2.
Yay!
One of them they're going to conjoin and make it a 3-week break.
Oh, for God's sake! What is the point? I mean, look, can we just deviate into international football for a minute?
You certainly may.
Back in the 90s, Euro 96, I think, was a bit of a watershed moment for people who previously didn't like international football, and they thought, okay, we enjoyed Euro 96, I'm going to keep going to England matches. And then you're watching the likes of Beckham, and then later on Michael Owen and Shearer and all these players that were fantastic. And it was, for a little while it was good. Then France 98 didn't do very well, crashed out against Argentina. But again, okay, yes, I can see why people are going to international. I don't give a monkeys about international football unless we're in a tournament. I assume you are the same. The fact that we kind of did the thing for the Euros last year, and we'll probably do a World Cup one next year where we're kind of covering.
Yeah. I mean, really, what you're saying is when you've liked it and when you haven't,
No,
because 1990 Euro, no, the World Cup in Italy.
Yeah, okay, 1986 Mexico. I agree.
Oh, no. Hold on. 1990s one made a huge difference. It permeated into the culture more than any had previously done. At the time, you'd had football songs were like, Back Home, and all of, you basically get the England squad coming in and basically warbling something awful. Suddenly, we went to Italy and something changed. Suddenly, you've got Nessun Dorma. You've got this kind of cultural alignment. Surprise, surprise, lots of people watch it. 2 years later, the money men start off the Premier League. That was when football kind of became this, right, it's really going from a crossover from a sporting following that is often hooliganized, obviously. As Thatcher went out, who was obviously very big on the dealing with the hooliganism in the 80s, it was almost like a changing of the time. You also went into like, the kind of, oh crikey, the new Labour nonsense and stuff, and all of this sort of stuff. Football materially changed with the advent, really, of the Premier League, which started with Rome. Needless to say, this comes down to FIFA and or UEFA wanting more bundles of bloody cash. Frankly, no, they should fuck right off as far as I'm concerned. And the situation should be every even numbered year we have a tournament. We either have the Euros or we have the World Cup. You'd also have obviously the same thing with the Copa America. You could also do the same thing with the African Cup of Nations, etc. What you have in the odd years during the summer could be qualification tournaments that take place. Take out the international breaks. They're a nuisance. Nobody likes them at all. We talk about exhausting these players, but then they throw more things into the international schedule all the time. Suddenly we have a Club World Cup. Who's organized that? FIFA. Quelle fucking surprise. What is that doing? That's them trying to get hold of some domestic football in the same way as UEFA have with the Champions League year on year on year. I'm fed up with the higher ups in football doing everything for material gain and nothing for the benefit of the game. It's absolutely atrocious. So what you do is you stick your international football in the summer where it can get a head up of steam, and people would be interested in, okay, what's this? It's a tournament. We're qualifying for next year's World Cup, or we don't. And you put that in, and then you have the tournament. That way you'd have an extra, probably something like 6 weekends to be able to play domestic football and be able to put that into the place. And only the absolute top end of international players would be playing, week in, week out, then having to play in these qualifiers. But even then, that's what they do now anyway, because clubs go on ridiculous post-season tours. When did that become a thing?
Yeah,
I'm ranting.
But if you did do that, on the odd seasons where you did the qualifying all in one place, they could have a mid-season break in the winter, which is something that a lot of managers call for. And this interruption, 3 weeks, 3-week interruption without any domestic football, that's just going to be torture. It's just going to be
ridiculous. Awful. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, enough of such things. Ryan has given us an absolutely perfect segue. Well done, Ryan. Excellent stuff. Says, I'm going to Ipswich away. Nice, like that. That'll be a tough game, I think, but Sheffield United may be a challenge. But we will see what happens. Well, let's see what happens, because we got to speak to our friendly American Chad, who's very fun indeed. And if you remember last time, he wasn't very keen on Wrexham. This time it's something else beginning with W. Go figure.
And joining us for Opposition View, Sheffield United fan, Chad from Red Half of Sheffield. How are you, my friend? How are you doing? How's the USA?
I'm doing well. Glad to be on. I think this is I don't even know how many times we recorded this, or recorded with you guys. Yeah, I'm good. Previewing another Blades inevitable loss. It's good over here stateside. It's it's getting fall time. As recording, the NFL is on my TV. So yeah, we're going. I'm glad I'm enjoying this international break, and yeah, gonna lose 3 points next weekend.
You may be wondering why Chad is he's not his normal cheery disposition, which normally means he's leading up to telling us everybody that Sheffield United are going to lose to us. Never do, right? But he's. However, I have to say, this season, if it were going to be a film, it really would be. Oh crikey, it would be another Final Destination, wouldn't it? It's not been pretty. It's not been good. It really hasn't been. It has been the nightmare on Bramall Lane. Let's be honest with you. Please, if you will, just give us a quick potted history through what can only be described as Wilder, Sellers, Wilder. Take us through this, because you were in the playoff final, very, very close run thing, and then it all goes what I think I can only describe as a bit tits up.
Oh, well, okay, as everybody watching this and listening to this knows, Wilder banging on his chest 92 points. It was really only 90. You lose in the last kick of the playoff final. And then, as I agreed with our new owners that come in, it'll be basically Christmas of this year will be 1 year in charge. You lose to Sunderland, you're back in the championship another year. You part ways with Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
I give it thumbs up. I'm okay. Appoint Ruben Sayas. I think the Spaniard was right around July, beginning of July. So everything is we're turning the page in the book. Bob Seger song, Turn the Page.
Great tune. Metallica cover. That's a great tune. Turn the page. Loving that.
It is. So then you think, okay, Ruben Sayas is going to come in. This is going to be the new manager, first appointed manager under the new regime. They're going to give him, money and funds to spend and all that fancy jargon. And we proceed to buy absolutely nobody ever heard of. I guess that's part of their recruitment strategy, is using AI to say, hey, this guy is good from Zimbabwe, and this guy is good from Kazakhstan, and this guy is from Uganda is great.
Now, hold on a second. Hang on a second. We've got a list. We've got a list of all these guys. I see no Kazakhstan. I do see a Bulgaria. I grant you that. But are you suggesting that there is indeed somebody's gone into ChatGPT at Bramall Lane and put in ChatGPT, give me a list of inexpensive players from inexpensive markets?
I think you would be correct on that one, Peter.
We'd long suspected.
So then the season starts, and you get one goal, and you play your best half of football in the first half against Bristol City and lose the game 4-1, and then proceed to lose your next 6 games, including the cup game to Birmingham, and only score 1 goal under Sayas in the league. And then we go ahead and say, we're going to do a reverse course, and we're going to bring back Tufty. And
I like Tufty.
So then he comes back in the door, and because it was always going to be an uphill battle for Ruben Sayas, because as soon as the first goal went in for Bristol City in the first game, I was doing a live watch along, and the first comment that came in was Chris Wilder's team wouldn't have let that go in against Bristol City. And then the second goal came in, the third goal came in, and Chris Wilder wouldn't have lost Bristol City. Look, he beat him 6-0 over 2 legs in the playoff semifinals. How dare you lose to Bristol City? Chris Wilder would have never done it. And then it just compounded on every defeat was just, well, Chris Wilder wouldn't have lost this game. Well, Chris Wilder wouldn't have done that. Chris Wilder's wouldn't have done that.
It's just a guess here, but But is Chris Wilder second only to Wrexham in your level of affection? Because Mr. Wilder doesn't seem to be coming out any better on this, it seems.
No, and that's where I was going to go. So then we go ahead and appoint him back, and he's won one game since returning. And honestly, the side is the same side he had last year, minus 2 players. You have Vinny Susan and Ahmed Hodzic left, and then it's the side's the exact same. They're not scoring goals, and so everybody wanted Wilder back. Oh my God! Once we get Wilder back, we're going to get off and running. And it's like, no, you're rooted at the bottom of the table. The only team you beat is the team that's right above you, in 23rd in Oxford, and that's it. You have a team in Sheffield Wednesday that's playing under 21 players and still has more points than you. And you have Gus Hamer and Callum O'Hare. He's not the answer, but the whole thing is Sheffield United as a club and as a supporters fan base, they're so endowed to him that he could lose every game the rest of the season, and we would still say, well, Chris Wilder wouldn't do that. And he's there. And it's like, it's just how diluted the fan base is. But the whole thing is the pressure from the fan base in everybody as soon as the defeats were going in. And yes, I understand Sayers got hammered the last couple of games. But the whole thing is you got to give the guy more than 6 games. And I understand if it wouldn't have worked out. I understand Sheffield United have ambitions to go up again this year. But okay, don't just jump right off and be like, we need to bring back the guy that got us there. Because if you look at the last 10 games of last season, we were absolutely ass because we were top of the league in April. And he threw it away. And you lost to the bottom side. You lost to Oxford. You lost to Plymouth. You dropped points and you threw it away. And he was the manager. And nobody said a damn word. And then you bring him back, and it's just like, well, Chris Wilder's in charge. Everything should turn around. Well, I got news for you. It's not. Just stop. I call them Wilder cucks, and it's just like we understand where he brought us, but dude, the past is the past. Let that shit go. And we're the only team in the 92 teams in the NFL. We sack one, and everybody can see how messed up the back room is. For Wilder to be the only one that comes back in, when we sacked Sayers, the only manager to come in was Wilder. They didn't interview anybody. They picked up the phone and like, we're going to hit the easy button. Wilder, come back in, suffice the fans. Oh wait, you lost one of your next 5 games.
Take a breath, Chad.
Jesus Christ!
Welcome back.
I'm in the minority. The majority of them are just like, oh my God, God will turn us around and we're going to win every single game, and just loss after loss. And I was like, dude, the guy's tactics are past him. The game's past him. He needs to go off into the pasture and retire.
Welcome back, everybody, to Chad Emotes. We're still on the letter W. We've done Wrexham, and now we're on Wilder. Oh, my Lord. Well, look, what can we say?
That was comprehensive.
It was. To be frank with you, we've never had the moral high ground before until you turned around and said you don't sack a manager after 6 games. And Justin and I both kind of like, I checked each other and went, well, actually, it's 9 or 10, really.
Maybe we'll get Tufty back. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Don't start calling him Tufty. I don't like that at all. I've decided I'm not keen. Well, look, some of the players you've signed are rather well known, if probably injured and old and a bit warty. Ben Mee, 35. Danny Ings, 33. These are players with good pedigree. However, they do have a very good pedigree normally in the physio room. Have either of those been those guys, or has any new players impressed you? And I grant you that with your record so far this season, it's not going to be bursting full with impressive records of anybody, I imagine.
Nobody just came in. Danny Ings, he came in, and then he was hurt for a couple of games. Ben Mee's come in, and he's held down the defense and kind of shored up that side of things. But other than that, Binden's been terrible. Louis Berry's been, he was absolutely lighting it on fire in League One at Stockport, comes back to Villa, gets loaned to Hull, gets injured, and then, he signs for us. And you're like, oh, this is a hell of a signing. Ben Godfrey's been absolutely awful. Louis Berry, he like I said, he came in with so much high praise, and he's done absolutely nothing. Everybody they brought in through the transfer window in the summer has been absolutely hammered ass. And the whole thing is like I said in my big monologue at the beginning, if Wilder loses the rest of the games, if Wilder loses the rest of the games, like, well, that's not Wilder's players. Well, that's not Wilder's players. And it's like, what other excuse are we going to paint this guy? Like,
oh my!
I mean, come on.
This is therapy for you, Chad, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is.
I mean, it is. That's why I drink. That's why I'm on alcohol. That's why I drink alcohol. That's my therapy, to make everything a little bit easier.
What time is it there at the moment, Chad?
It is just about 3:30 in the afternoon.
It will allow you to have the alcohol, and that's a reasonable time. That's fine.
You should be going there judging Chad there, Justin. That's very, very presumptuous of you. It's true. Chad has had to deal with both Wrexham and Wilder several times in the same year. Well, there you go. You go. When he gets a head up of steam, Chad, he goes. There's no stopping him. There's no stopping him.
He definitely went. Yeah, I mean that was comprehensive and funny at the same time. Some of the phrases he was coming out with there, Wilder cucks and Tufty, just made me laugh. Very, very good.
Yeah, we had a whole lot about Tufty Club, but you could trust me, you'd have been here for days with that sort of stuff. had to throw this up at some point, because let's face it, it's they've had 10 games. They have scored, including the cup, 4 goals. They have conceded 18. Now, we all know what this means. Let's just tick this off, shall we? Team can't get their season started. Watford coming to town. Yeah, that's all you need to tick. You know what's going to happen next.
New manager bounce, Peter. New manager bounce. Come on, mind you. We've had enough of those and not bounced. So
but this is an old manager bounce. They've got their old manager. We've got our old manager. It's a new. I don't know. Is a new or old manager bounce more bouncy than the other? I don't know. I just don't know. Oh, it's all very, very odd. Let's see what Casper said. Casper said he's just happy about the Dennis situation.
Casper, you know me. You know I don't need to answer that. Thank you very much.
Casper, you know him. He's never happy about anything, let alone the Dennis situation. Ellie, hello, Ellie, says torture 100%, but non-league is still going on. I think this is in reference to the ever-expanding world of international football. Boo! Against the wonderful world of domestic. Hooray! Football. There we go. She also said, plus, if you're an EFL fan or Premier season ticket holder, you can get into non-league games for free. I don't think you can all the time, but a lot of those clubs will put on deals. So it's either reduced price or during those international breaks to get you in. So that would have been last weekend. Who knows? So as you will all know, we've had a couple of games going on. We've had Untenable, which of course has been a huge success. So yeah, no, we're not going to do that. But what we've tried to do is see whether or not Justin will fit into host with the most. Now, this was an opportunity, because here we have what we can only describe as an American who hasn't supported Sheffield United that long. This is a perfect opportunity to ask Chad about lots of players that he's never ever heard of, and whether or not they played more for Watford or for Sheffield United. He was about as happy as that as he is with Chris Wilder. To get into is something that Justin will not be happy about. However, I am going to call it now that I would suggest your lack of football knowledge of certain years is going to do neither of you any good here. So this is going to be very, very good indeed. We're going to go to host with the most, everybody, because I think what we really, really need is an opportunity to test both Justin, somebody who has occasions looked away from the stats table of football, and we also need to really divert his Chad's attention from things Wilder for a moment. So what we're going to do is we are going to play host with the most. Chad, what we're going to do, it's going to play like 5 penalties each. It's a penalty shootout game. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be presenting players who have played for both Watford and Sheffield United. Okay, so we're going to have 5 penalties each, and you're going to tell me which of the 2 teams do you think that player played for more. At the moment, this particular game is 1-1 for Dnsye versus the EFL, who again you're playing for. Are you ready, Chad? Are you ready for your first Watford and indeed Sheffield United legend?
I am ready.
Now, I must confess, this isn't necessarily all about the legends. This is quite a lot about the journeymen. The people say, who? Him?
That's what I like. I'm here for that. Yeah.
Chad, your first penalty steps up to is Steve Cabba. All you need to tell me is which team did Steve Cabba play? He's saying that Steve Cabba played more goals for Watford than Sheffield United. The answer is 94 for Sheffield United, 25 for Watford. No, he was a surefire bust at Watford, I'm afraid. Justin, your chance to edge ahead in what can only be described as a titanic battle that nobody gives a shit about. Paul Devlin, did he play more for Watford or more for Sheffield United? You may have an inkling of how many games he played for Watford, but how many has he played for Sheffield United and vice versa?
Well, that's the loans.co.uk top. So that was 2006. I think he was with us for a couple of seasons, maybe 3. So let's say he did somewhere approaching 100 for Watford. So let's say 90 for Watford. I would say probably more for Watford.
Justin is saying more for Watford. This is exactly the level of competence that I was hoping for.
Looks like his shirt was a little big on both of those pictures as well. God, it covered his elbows.
Very, very much the 90s / early 2000s were in the more ample gentleman's outfitters area. No, we've got 0-0. Both sides refusing to score.
Sorry, just to go back on that, Peter, for the audio listeners. Yes, it was 79 for Watford and 147 for Sheffield United.
This is I forgot. I do apologise, all you audio listeners. What Justin said. Right, let's get on. We go to Chad. Second penalty. Lee Williamson.
Excuse me, who?
Thought this might occur, and that's absolutely no problem, because trust me, if you don't recognise him, you'll be wondering what kits the other ones are wearing. That's fine. Carry on.
Let's go with I'm going with Watford on this one.
This, I believe, is one of the close ones. 71 for Watford, 76 for Sheffield United. It's another penalty missed. Now, here we go. We move on. Justin.
Right now, I'm into
who people may be struggling. David Barnes. Left back, for what you need to know there. And, basically, whilst wearing very, very small Sheffield United shorts for those people listening on an audio podcast.
Yeah, boy, that would work.
I've not heard of this bloke. He's wearing, so for the audio people, he's wearing the Blaupunkt kit here. So that makes it mid-90s, doesn't it? And I would suggest that's possibly earlier than that Sheffield United kit. That looks like late 80s. So I'm going to suggest he was at Sheffield United first, and then he came to Watford. This is my logic. And I would guess that he was a lot younger there. So I would say he's probably played more for Watford.
Wow, what a tortured way around to get to that.
Was very tortured. Oh, he's done it by 1.
By one.
For those audio listeners, see, lose the moral high ground to me, Justin. That's not going to wait around long. 16 appearances for Watford, David Barnes, left back he was, and only 15 for Sheffield United. I told you it was going to get close. So after round 2 of penalties, we've actually got somebody who's managed to stumble over the ball and the ball roll into the goal eventually. Two round 2's gone, but it's 1-0 to Justin. Chad, we come to you. Any hope of keeping up? We don't know. Let's face it, the season is anything to go by? Probably not.
No.
Nyron Nosworthy. And I have to say, a pretty natty away kit there. He was a bit of a unit, centre back. Who do you think
I'm going to go with Watford? Because I'm going with you guys the entire way.
You're fairly convinced that most people have played more games for Watford than Sheffield United. That's fine. The scores are: he's only gone and equalised. 56 goals for Nyron Nosworthy for Watford, 51 at Sheffield United. Of course, people would have remembered seeing him in a red and white kit, but most of the time playing for Sunderland. 1-1. Justin, you've got to try and get this one to keep ahead. Come on. You could imagine how proud Carl will be when he finds out. Stephen McGinn. Stephen McGinn. If you remember, John McGinn of Aston Villa, his brother. He played for both the Blades and the Hornets. But which one did he play for most? Didn't
Roger McGinn play for the Birds? There's a 1960s reference. Right. That's a 2010-ish kit, isn't it, there, that he's wearing for us? So I would guess he went on to Sheffield United from us. That's my guess. I'd say he's played more for Sheffield United.
Okay. I have noticed that a little bit like, if you've ever watched The Chase, it's a game show over here, Chad. What they do is if they've got the question and they're feeling a bit smug, they tell you some superfluous information about the question, not the answer.
I'm not feeling smug. I'm trying to work things out.
Lead around the bush.
Kit, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, it was about that.
You say Sheffield United, it's 38 for Watford, 32 for Sheffield United. Don't forget, this is a celebration of the mundane journeyman in many instances, until we get possibly to some later ones. But there we go. It's 1-1 after 3 rounds. Who knows? We may have some people that Chad has actually recognised. Who knows? But not this time. Mark Yates. Mark Yates.
How the hell do you get Yates out of Yeats? It looks like Yeats.
Well, frankly, I enjoy the way you say Yeats. It sounds like the way some people say grits over there, which just makes no sense to anybody in British. But I like your Yeats. How many games? Who did he play more for?
I'll go with Sheffield United.
Oh, he's changed. He's changed direction, everybody. Oh, the excitement. Something might have happened. He's wrong.
Oh, of course I am.
62 games for Watford, only 55 for the Blades. You see, you've done so well on the last one. You scored a point, and then you veered off course. Justin, you can sneak back in front. Neither of these two teams prepared to enter into anything approaching competence. David Holdsworth.
Oh.
David Holdsworth, a captain for both these teams. Which, though, did he play more games for?
He definitely went from Watford to Sheffield United. I'm 100%.
Justin?
I think you're right, Ted. So the official centenary there. So that would be 90. Trying to work out the dates.
Thank you very much, the governors.
Yes. So David Holdsworth, I remember in the youth team. That's how old I am. Back in the 80s. That's the mid 90s. So let's assume he's been with us for 7 years ish. There.
I go Watford.
What are you doing there?
I think I'm going to go Watford as well. Let's go Watford.
He says Watford. The answer is Watford. 133 games.
That many?
Yeah.
93 for the Blades. Sterling service wherever he went. He also had a good stint at Birmingham, but not good enough, obviously, to beat us in the playoff semi-finals in 2006. Just saying. So there we go. It is 2-1 to Watford as we, to Justin at DNSYE as we go into the final round before potentially. Do we have to use nearest the pin? We'll find out. You need to score to keep it alive here, Chad. Another captain of both sides, Robert Page.
I'll go Watford.
No logic. We'll just go Watford.
Okay.
Chad,
we're going Watford.
Chad, I do admire and indeed appreciate the "fuck it, that'll do" attitude towards this. Well done, excellent. And to be honest with you, it fares very well for you because the answer is 216 games for Watford. Bona fide legend, 107 sterling service for the Blades. But no, absolutely. We go 2-2, and we've got the final penalty for you to take. If you miss, we go nearest the pin, which could go very, very wrong. But there we
I
go.
hope it does.
Justin, are you ready?
No, but go on.
Thanks very much. Justin, very much the Chris Waddle of the final penalty take. Right, okay, here we go. Lee Bromby. Or as he was really known, Lee got a big throw on him, Bromby.
Didn't Steve Cabba score from one of his long throws? Cabba's only goal. I've got a feeling Lee
Cabba scored on literally, he threw that ball in within 2 minutes of the first game we played. It was away at Wolves, and we won it. I think we won it 3, wasn't it? 3-0? Or it was, I can't remember if it was home or away.
Okay.
And and it basically kind of hit Cabba at an obtuse angle and went in the net. I don't imagine Cabba actually claimed anything. But anyway, enough of this.
He came bounding over to Boothroyd for a hug as if he'd scored a World Cup winner. Anyway, sorry, Peter.
Who did he play more for? I feel you're going down the old chase route again.
I am. I think he didn't play very much for us, Lee Bromby. I'd be surprised if he made 15 appearances. So I'm going to go for Sheffield United.
Justin, he steps up. He jinks with one of those annoying kind of stumbly things, but he puts it into the back of the net. I've got to say it, Justin, first victory on the very, very good. It makes it 2-1 to Watford on DNSYE on this shambles of a quiz, which most people don't actually recognise who the hell we're talking about or anything like that. But Justin, well done, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Justin.
You're welcome. It was guesswork, most of it, Chad, to be fair. But
better than my fuck it strategy.
We got through it.
I said it in a very admiring fashion. There we go. There we go. 2-1 overall. Do not scratch your eyes. Are in the lead versus the EFL. Again, this is not something that will happen very often. Enjoy it, cherish it. You did all right on that. I thought you were kind of. I do very much enjoy the fact that you have to try to work out what the kit is, put a date on it, and then kind of work your way in a circular fashion towards an answer.
Yes, and it was nice to see an official 1991 official centenary top as well. There's a little nudge for Cole Campion there, who still wears an official centenary scarf with 1891 even though it's been revised to 1881. Yeah, no, that was good fun. I mean, it was easier than Tenable, I think, because it's just got a 50-50, haven't you, with that quiz rather than 1 in 10 or whatever. So yeah, no, good fun.
It is good fun. I hope you were guessing there during that. Now, interestingly, Wendover suggested do Martin Cool, which is obviously a rumor I deny entirely. I've never at any point done Martin Cool, and if anybody saw Martin Cool play, you'll understand why. Bit of a hard nut, played for Sheffield United. However, what I always do is I make sure I'm bringing players over from 1992 onwards to try to give people a bit of a chance. But even there with Chad, who 1990s, how the hell's he going to know who's played for Watford? Let's face it, it's all random nonsense. When is it anything other than that? Which is all very good. Now, I have been doing a little bit of extra work. Because I thought, well, we've done the prediction league for a long time, and I thought, I think it's only right and proper that we should acknowledge a lot of people have come along, including Chris from Millwall, for turned around and said, I'm rather disappointed at the lack of dogs. And I thought everybody should be playing for a trophy. So it's time, everybody. It's time to talk about that lovely thing that you all enjoy so much.
It's the DNSYE Completely Rubbish Prediction League.
No! God, please, no! No!
I think that trophy is excellent. It looks like a very ornate metallic litter tray, but
is there a physical manifestation of this, or is it at this stage still an AI drawing, Peter?
Not yet. I am going to a key and bar area and see if they'll knock me up some trophy in that particular regard. We shall see. Look, normal nonsense. Let's just get to where the league is, and because obviously it's very important that we're trying to do everything and remember that there are people who are listening on audio. So I'm not going to show you a league table. I'm going to read it to you. So, absolutely. At the moment, in top place is the EFL on 12 points. They have selected on 4 occasions the correct score. In second place is AFC Postbox on 11 points, 1 point behind. Got 2 points at the last game because they went for they basically went for a 4-3 win. It was a 2-1 win, so they get 2 points, getting the score difference and the result. Patreons didn't get anything, sitting on 7 points. Backgammon FC are sitting on 2 points because they got a point dropped, and DNSYE are still sitting on 2 points as well. 10 points adrift of the summit of the whole thing. So it's a very difficult thing as to how we're going to improve on that. Let's first of all start with Colin and all things post boxy, if that's okay with you. He did point out the fact that a few of his letterboxes in Margate, if you do recall, this is all postman in Margate fucking about for a living, basically, it seems. Sheffield United 2, Watford 1, and as he said, it's a red letter day for Watford. Now, if you can't see it, that's because there's a red letter in the postbox. 2-1, he goes. That's not a good start, is it, everybody? I'm not particularly happy with that. But
can I just ask Colin if he's listening or watching? Do you open the first box and decide that's the home team, and then open the second box and assume that's the away team each time? Because you might open both and go, oh, it's 2-1. I'll give it to Sheffield. See, I want to know if it's scientific or there's an element of human. I don't want to use the word interference, but do you know what I mean? Is it? I need to know what his rules are. His
my understanding. But I'll allow Colin to listen to this in audio. Hello, Colin, by the way. Is that they select which boxes they're going to have. It's very much like a very low wattage, low budget deal or no deal. And then they open that, see it, take a photograph of it, and then choose the other one. And that's how they do it.
Okay.
Unlike the Patreons this week, where Carl Wilson is up, and he has gone for something very, very pleasing indeed. He no post boxes, nothing. He's just said, I reckon it's a Desmond Tutu. It's a Desmond, everybody. I love a Desmond, and I love the graphic. And frankly, if you are just listening on the audio, you just don't get how marvelous this graphic is. Or maybe not. You know, what the heck? Desmond, we like it. So we've got a 2-2. We've got a 2-1 to Sheffield United. Bearing in mind, this team have scored 4 goals in 10 games. We're now projecting each time they're going to score at least 2. So thus is the confidence that we show, all the way through. Now, we do need to get on to Backgammon FC. Previously, it was splendid. Occasionally, we would have dogs. Sometimes we would have dice. Sometimes John would basically run the Great North Run or the Angel of the North. Since then, I'll be honest with you, it's having a tough time of it because Brett, he's a drummer. We do apologise, but he is. It's like saying he's from Barcelona, and he's taken on parts of what John has done because John liked to film it all in very, very loud environments. However, on this particular occasion, Brett was hamstrung because he had a cameraman who was working with him, who was providing microphones that you would hope would work, but didn't. However, whilst the audio is awful, in order to be thinking about all of those people listening on audio, we've used AI to knock up some audio descriptions. This is an entirely new path for us. We hope you like our new direction.
I just interrupted you eating burgers. Lovely burgers. You don't really know what we're doing here. No.
Hello, your audio description bot. On screen are 2 gentlemen understandably concerned as to why a crazed loony is asking them to roll dice when they would clearly prefer to be left alone to eat their burgers.
Carl Campion, friend of the pod.
Friend of the podcast, Carl Campion, is also unwittingly dragged into this nonsense. The host doesn't even know what match is being played. Do people really make this rubbish?
Right, Sheffield United away, isn't it? Yeah. Carl, roll first. We haven't won for ages. That is 4 minus 2. That is 2.
Carl Campion rolls red and white dice for Sheffield United. Despite the clear incompetence of the cameraman, we do discover that a 4 and a 2 have been rolled. The vector the scores means Sheffield United are predicted to score 2 goals. Was this filmed in a wind tunnel? Good grief.
Take it a Watford win, and away win for all those travelling. Oh no, that's 2-0. If I keep getting losses, I'm probably going to rise up the table. Just stick with losses.
One of the gentlemen rolls yellow and red dice, but rolls a double 3 mean the vector is 0. So the final score prediction is Sheffield United 2, Watford 0. Can I go now, please? This is a complete waste of mine and everybody else's time.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the danger of doing guerrilla filming with Brett, I'm afraid. It was, I mean, I'm not blaming Brett for the microphone not working.
You're throwing him right under a bus there, I would suggest. Well done.
Well, no, I'm not blaming Brett. The mics were working, previously to that, because if you've seen our reels, you've seen they working. But for some reason, as soon as we switch location, they stop working. But thank goodness for Olivia Coleman AI audio description, because the audio listeners now get the full effect of it all. Filming the dice that small when people drop on the floor with a phone is very difficult, I have to say. It's really not easy, in my defence.
There we go. Well, we thought it was bad when we were doing videos for an exclusively audio podcast. Now we've got the video things, and you end up kind of just talking to it. So we're trying to include everybody who's not watching this rubbish, but is instead listening to this rubbish. Who knows? So you've heard earlier on from Chad. We need to go across to the EFL and see what he thinks. What do you think he's going to predict? You can choose, however, this season. You will remember days gone by when we've made it complicated. We've removed 1-1. We've removed other forecasts. We have simplified it. Chad, you can put whatever score you damn well please for when Watford come to Bramall Lane. That's Bramall Lane this coming Saturday. What do you think it's going to be?
New manager bounce, 3-0 Watford.
3-0.
Who's going to score those goals, Chad?
Oh, don't start that. Don't start that. So we have 2-1 to Sheffield United, according to Postbox, AFC Postbox. The Patreons, we basically had Carl Wilson has just gone, nope, I want a Desmond. A Desmond is what I want, and he has a Desmond. Well done. Like to see it. Calm, decisive. Backgammon FC have gone 2-0 to the opposition due to sound technical issues. And thank you, by the way, for from Brendan and Sean, or it could be Joe. Who knows, because we couldn't hear. And the EFL have gone 3-0 to Watford. Justin, it comes to you. We don't have Carl with us today. He will be joining us on Thursday when we're going to be interviewing Watford goalkeeping legend, for somebody who was only with us for 3 years. During that 3 years, he won 2 Player of the Season awards, Mr. Kevin Miller. So we're looking forward to seeing him there, but he's not available tonight. You've got, it basically falls to you. Who are you? What score are you going to say when we take the trip to Bramall Lane?
Well, we haven't won away this season, have we? So this could be the first away win of the season. I'd like to think we're going to win. Having seen, I actually watched sorry, this is going off topic now, but I actually watched the video with Troy. Yeah, I know. I actually watched that this morning. And he's just such a very jolly guy, isn't he, Javi Grazia? He's just very happy. I didn't realise he'd fallen off a ladder and broken 7 ribs, which I thought sounded a bit painful. You thought you were bad coming out of a loft and doing your finger.
I felt a kinship to the man. Well done. Falling out of a ladder is a badge of honour in my book.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if he's going to inject some of that optimism and enthusiasm in the team, then I think we might get a win. So this could be the first away win of the season. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Watford.
Wow. This is the first suggested win since you thought we would win 2-0 on Blue Shirt Day, which, as we all know, went down like a cup of cold sick. Never mind. Never mind. 2-0. So that means we've got a 3-0, says the EFL. 2-0, says the Dnsye. Backgammon FC is saying, 2-0 the other way. Home win again. Watford getting another team season going. Who knows? Carl Wilson saying none of this. Patreon say it's going to be honours even 2-2 and a Desmond all over the place. And AFC Postbox are saying it's a red letter day. Watford lose 2-1 at Bramall Lane. Whatever happens, points will be awarded.
Nice.
Look at that. Nice. We've done this inside of an hour for a change, which is always the ambition, and we never manage it.
No.
And we finally done it.
No.
Now Wendover has pointed out, he said England match is on and it's fucking boring. I'm looking forward to going down and watching it and basically grumbling about, not being happy that we beat a team 2-0 probably, or whoever. I mean, it's Latvia, isn't it? The problem, just going back to that international thing, the problem isn't the fact that you've got international football. It's the problem that you don't get any momentum into the season. Because if you're playing 3 or 4 games, I mean, if you remember in the Premiership, we played 3 games and then we paused for the international break. Like, come on, guys, we're just getting going. And then you kind of have at least in the Championship, we do get between international breaks 5 or 6 games on occasions, which gives us a head up of steam just to be pissed off enough once they kind of stop it for no apparent reason. Yeah, no. I much preferred it when they only stopped it when you had 3 internationals, and they had to be proper internationals. None of this under 21 nonsense. That's where we should be going. That's that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. So, like Peter said, we are talking to Kevin Miller on Thursday, which is very exciting. If you've got any questions you'd like us to put to Kevin, one of our tweets, you'll see a picture of Kevin with the words "punters questions" written on it. Just comment underneath that, and we'll try and get your question put to Kevin if we can. We will be back after the match on Saturday with our post-match phone in. So if you want to get involved in that, you know what you've got to do. Go into the recording or the live space on X, request to speak and come on, or you can just watch on YouTube if you like. If you'd rather just watch, that's fine as well. Please do like and subscribe to our channel. It does it just helps the algorithm, basically. So if you're happy to do that, that would be fantastic. Does that wrap matters up, Peter? Are we done for this evening, or
it almost does.
Oh.
On Sunday, the women are at home again in the cup. Now, the cup this season has been a group. First of all, we won that, did really well, and we are basically due to play Plymouth, who we've already beaten 2-0. It was a tough old game. Plymouth are much better. If you went down and saw them against Vicarage Road last year, much improved. It's going to be a difficult one, but that's down at Kings Langley at the Orbital Fasteners Stadium. Do get down and support the girls if you can. They've been a lot of fun. So have a look at that. I did a basically kind of a monthly program where we look back at, it was 2 months actually in this case, August and September, so that people can kind of catch up with who's playing for the girls, how are they doing, all right, etc. And it was great because we saw a few people coming down last Sunday when again we got a 3-1 win against #United, and I go down and do a bit of a commentary thing that we put out as an audio only podcast. And it's it's good fun, and it's Watford. So if you can, and if you think you're around, have a look at that. Obviously, at other times, non-league is another option as well. So there we go. Nope, I'm all good now, sir.
Marvelous.
I think it's time to go and moan at Thomas Tuchel for no apparent reason.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something far more interesting. I don't know what, but it'd be more interesting. Count my rice or something. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for joining us once again. It's very nice of you to do that. We will be back after the match on Saturday. Safe travels if you're going up to Bramall Lane. Have fun, and we'll be back soon. You ons.
Best of luck to Yavi for his first game back. Fingers crossed. Let's all hope that things pick up. You ons.
You ons.